Many parts of the Boise National Forest are managed for multiple use. Near Cow Creek Summit, west of Mountain Home, Angus cattle graze on mountain slopes. These are known as rangelands, which provide nutritious forage for livestock and wildlife. These are working lands for local ranchers like Charlie Lyons and Jeff Lord. The grazing pastures are a crucial part of their cattle operation. Just over the hill, people like to go camping, fishing, and boating on the South Fork of the Boise River. In the Danskin Mountains nearby, people ride motorbikes and ATVs on over 200 miles of trails. Many people who recreate on the Boise National Forest on a regular basis understand that they need to care for the resource and share it respectfully with others for generations to come.
That's our beautiful forest, and there's probably inescapably important to keep it clean and nice.
Idaho is one of the fastest growing states in the nation. That's brought a lot of new visitors to the National Forest, as well as tourists from out of state. Newbies may not know much about caring, sharing public lands or multiple use management.
You know, it's really important for us is just that we're respecting each other, all the user groups that we have out here. You know, one of the key pieces to get along is just having a little, even if it's just a little bit of understanding about all the different resources and uses out there.
Let's go over some basics that recreationists need to know about coexisting with livestock on public rangelands, opening and closing gates, corrals, water troughs, and more. Oftentimes, forest visitors will encounter livestock gates on a public access road. Many are barbed wire gates used to keep livestock in a particular grazing pasture. The Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and Idaho Department of Lands divided rangelands into grazing allotments with fencing decades ago.
Basically, this allows them to move the cattle between allotments and allows them to contain them in a defined area.
But the barbed wire gates can be kind of intimidating. People might wonder, what do I do?
Probably a little bit intimidating. Reach out and bite you.
If you happen to come across a gate, be sure you leave the gate as you find it. If that gate is open, leave the gate open. If that gate is closed, please close the gate.
Open the wire loop over the wooden pole that holds the gate closed. Pull the wooden pole out of the base of the fence, open the gate, drive through, close it, and continue on your way. Generally, the gates are closed during the summer grazing season. This is when ranchers are rotating cattle through different fenced pastures. If someone fails to close a gate after passing through, cattle can drift back into a pasture that's already been grazed for the season.
Fences, particularly for cattle allotments, are really necessary to manage the operation. So yeah, if gates are left open, it can really disrupt a system. And if a permittee has just moved all their livestock through, close the gate, and then somebody leaves that gate open, you know, cattle, they might want to go right back to where they just came from.
On group rides, the Boise ATV trail riders have a system for opening and closing gates.
We call it a cone system. The ride leader will open the gate, drop an orange cone at that gate. That lets the tail gunner know that that gate needs to be closed. And we leave it the way we find it.
Livestock corrals are a common sight in the Boise National Forest. They might be empty one day and the next day they're full of cattle. Corrals are used by ranchers throughout the season. Please don't camp in corrals or park vehicles next to corrals, blocking access to them. Rancher Charlie Lyons explains.
The facility is built for the management of cattle or sheep or horses, but I need access to them.
Water troughs are scattered throughout the forest, providing a critical source of water for livestock and wildlife. Oftentimes, the water troughs are used as a tool to draw livestock away from creeks and riparian areas.
You want to keep them dispersed, and water is a great way to do that.
Sadly, the troughs can be vandalized by people shooting at random targets, riddling the tanks with bullet holes, causing leaks or worse. The bottom line is that shooting holes in livestock tanks is not only bad form, it's against the law. In the spring, Local ranchers graze cattle along the South Fork of the Boise River, while early bird anglers fish and float for trout.
Cattle grazing is one of our multiple use activities on the Boise National Forest, and it's kind of an awesome mix between what people do for fun and what people do for a living, and it's kind of what makes the West unique.
Rancher Clay Davison says his cattle graze along the South Fork where people camp and fish during the month of May. This is a time when they should expect to see cattle.
In the early 90s, my family, Forest Service, different fishing groups came together and talked about a resolution on when cows could be here and when it would be best for fishermen, the multi-use to really mix together. Came up with the idea of coming in here the 1st of May until the Friday before Memorial Day. And then we'd have most of the cows out, everything we could. Most of the summer would be cow-free for most of the fishing access area on the South Fork here.
So when you come up here fishing and floating, you need to understand that this is multiple use Forest Service land. So if you're here in the spring, you're gonna see cattle down by the river. It's working land.
The South Fork of the Boise River is a scenic and popular place to go fishing, camping, and whitewater rafting. It's got a blue ribbon rainbow trout fishery, lots of campsites, and a challenging whitewater canyon. With a steady stream of new people moving into the greater Boise area, public use is increasing in the South Fork corridor.
The South Fork of the Boise is a great resource. It is only an hour away from a population that's growing very fast. So there's a lot of people up here, especially on the weekends. It is a remote experience, but it's heavily used. And so when you come up here, you have to have that mindset. You're gonna come across a lot of people and you just need to be polite and do your thing.
Along with that increased use comes an uptick in bad behavior. Issues that can be hopefully avoided with better planning, preparation, and education.
When you've got a lot of use and you've got a lot of people, we're also seeing a lot more trash. We're seeing a lot more human waste out in the woods.
People should come prepared to pack out what they pack in for their camping trip.
They don't have a bunch of trash cans. They don't have dumpsters at a lot of our facilities. So packing it in, packing it out is very important. It's always a good idea to bring several more trash bags than you think you're gonna need. You can leave it better than you found it too, so even if it's not your trash, if you see trash on the ground, it's always a good idea to pick that up too.
Human waste can be managed at your campsite by bringing a portable toilet for your group, using existing outhouses in the canyon, or digging a proper cat hole.
Using a trowel, dig a hole 6 to 8 inches deep or 4 to 6 inches in arid deserts.
You can dig your cat hole, that's always important, and also pack it out. You know, you pick up your dog's waste, you can pick up your human waste as well.
By all accounts, the number of people playing outdoors in Idaho has been growing rapidly in recent years, as record numbers of people move here or vacation here. That's led to an increase in litter, trigger trash, trespassing, resource damage, and human-caused wildfires.
We've just seen a huge influx in people coming outdoors. It would stand to reason that the more users that we get out here, the more violations that we're going to get out here.
Well, we've seen a big influx of motorized users everywhere. And I think big side-by-sides has been one of the biggest influxes that we've seen.
The Indian Springs Recreation Area, located in the foothills of Twin Falls and Kimberly, is managed by the Bureau of Land Management for multiple use.
It's open to everything. UTVs and ATVs and Jeeps, they jump off here, drive up to the forest, travel around during the summer. We have a well-developed 40-some miles of single-track trail, and it's open to everything, that single track. So motorbikes, mountain bikes, equestrian is growing here, and then hikers and people just out being outside.
There's also a shooting area at Indian Springs, livestock grazing, and its critical mule deer winter range and priority sage grouse habitat. In a place with so many uses, it's imperative for all users to show respect for others, while also taking care to avoid conflicts with other groups or cause damage to the land, officials said.
Doesn't matter if you're a ATV rider, a bicycle rider, or a cattleman with livestock, you're all different users of this ground. Know the rules, know the etiquette, know what you're supposed to do, and it's easier to get along with people.
A big part of getting along is taking the time to plan your trip in advance, research where you can go on approved trails, and plan a route that follows public roads to your destination.
So that's one of the biggest conflicts that we're having, and now, especially with the influx of new people coming in, they really don't understand. They just see open range, and it all looks the same. A fence is a fence, and the gate's a gate. It's like it's all ready to go. So you need to understand where you're at.
It's crucial to stay on designated public roads and trails.
The rule is if it's a road, you stay on the road. You do not make user-made roads. You do not cut across and make your own road. We have to be stewards of the land, regardless what kind of user you are.
Concerns about recreation access issues have become top of mind for the Idaho Rangeland Conservation Partnership, a diverse group of people who care about the land and encourage responsible use by all user groups. The Idaho Rangeland Conservation Partnership formed in 2018 to bring recreation and conservation groups together with ranchers and state and federal agency officials to share ideas in a safe, non-judgmental setting about land stewardship, wildlife, and multiple-use management. Common concerns such as preventing human-caused fires, packing out garbage, preventing private land trespass, showing respect for all user groups, and preserving native sage-steppe habitat for wildlife and livestock grazing are all crucial issues that IRCP participants care about, officials said.
See one that's wadded up and thrown in the creek, that's somebody's got some major anger issues. He's either going through a divorce or, you know, all his buddies got a deer and he didn't get one yet or something like that, but you see them all.
Just right over my shoulder is an 8,000 gallon tank. And I don't want to jinx it, but I haven't had anybody shoot it.
I almost don't want to say something like, don't shoot stock tanks.
But we've been very fortunate that way that I can think of a couple instances in Cow Creek where people blasted away and where I had to take a bolt and inner tube and patch the holes that they shot in. But we've been here 30 years now, and I can only think of a couple instances where people tore them up on purpose.